hate running. I hate it. It's the honest truth. I really, really hate it. It's painful. It's pointless at times. It seems like it's just going to go on forever. But the ironic thing is that running, long-distance running, has become the most important part of my professional life. I would probably say it's become the defining characteristic of who I am as an educator, as a leader, as a coach, as a father, as a son, as an uncle. It's defined who I am. It dictates my pedagogy. It dictates my philosophy. That portable that you see is called the Streetfront Alternative Program. Streetfront is a junior alternative program fixed to Britannia Secondary, just on the easternmost part of the downtown east side. I teach kids from grade 8 to 10, ages 12 to 17. And just like every other school, we teach the basic subjects. But we have a very, very specific subject that is the core. And it's the fundamental and the framework of what I believe in as education. We have a mandatory running program, 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, at 10:30 to 11:30. Every single student, every single staff member gets up and gets out there and starts to hit the pavement. It's non-negotiable. It's what we do. It's not boot camp. It's never punitive. It's therapeutic at its highest level. And what we get out there is we get to witness the idea of industry, rigor, and merit. And we teach the kids how to be successful. The kids that I teach are not necessarily successful. It's a junior alternative program. It's an alternative program for a reason. We have to do things differently. They're on a tradition or a non-traditional academic path. We need to reignite a passion and a sense of purpose, a sense of self-worth, a defining characteristic of who these kids generally are because they're failing. They're not failing themselves. The system isn't supporting them the way they need to. So it's my job to get them to run. And it's my job to make sure they don't stop. Why do we choose running? Well, we chose running because of its simplicity. It doesn't take much. If you're able-bodied, you can get out there and run. And what it teaches you is everything that we believe some kids are lacking: dedication, commitment, and perseverance. There is no cheerleader to cheer you on. There's no ball to entertain you. There's no net. There's no clock that says it's time to be done. All there is a distance. And the distance is the metaphor that we talk about. It's the motion, it's the inertia of moving forward and accomplishing our goals. I've ran, I think, probably well over 2,000 10-kilometer runs with these kids. 50 full marathons, probably 50 half marathons. But more importantly, I probably logged 5,000 hours listening to these kids, talking to these kids, picking these kids up when they're breaking, and celebrating when they're succeeding. That's just my life. It's nothing, that's not a stage photo, that's just what we do. And they run because we've taught them that through their efforts, they'll achieve greatness. They don't believe it at the start, they don't. It's painful and it's hard, but they give the idea that we can make it. It's gonna happen. There's the first boy that really took the bait. His name is Mauricio Garcia. He was a 14-year-old boy, little guy from Bolivia. And he came, and he was just a wonderful kid who said yes. In my life, I could maybe try to afford the time to go to Pilates or go to a spin class. For these kids, finding a home, finding food, finding security and safety, that trumps everything. So to get them to believe in long-distance, East Van kids running in their jeans, and like, trust me, I've offered like polypropylene tights and Nike dry fit shirts. They won't wear them. They're wearing their jeans and their skateboard shoes. They'll give me their effort, but they won't give me their pride, and that's okay. I can live with it. I still do. Back in 18 years ago, it was what it was. But Mauricio said yes. So we started training and training and training. And we started in September, and it came to about the end of October, and I was going, this kid's really got the goods. We can run 10s easily. There's nothing, and we're bringing a few kids along, but I thought we got to do something special. This kid's really doing it. I thought the Sun Run. Nah. I thought, no, not the Sun Run. 55,000 people do it. There's a whole bunch of high school kids. That's nothing special. So I looked through the calendar, and guess what we found? The Seattle Marathon, American Thanksgiving, the very end of November. It's perfect. We got 2.5 months, which if you're a marathoner, that's really not enough time, but that's okay. We do things a bit differently. Alternative school, we're going to make it happen. And we start running. And he had And One basketball shoes. And One's a brand that's kind of been passed on. They were slip-ons. So that's what he had, and they fit, so we're going to run. And I said, do you want to go do it? And he goes, sure. He doesn't know. He has nothing, no reference point for a marathon. It's just longer than the 10. So we go across. I don't know how we got across the border, but we did. We stayed in a horrible hotel, and we did that for the next 15 years. We saw Yao Ming play against the Seattle Supersonics. I can show you how long ago. They're not there anymore. And on a Sunday morning at 7:30, we slipped our shoes on, we went out, and the only expectation was we were going to do this together. We were going to succeed. And we went out. 4 hours and 18 minutes later, he crosses the finish line as a 14-year-old. The next youngest was 17. It was like the spotlight was so concentrated. Everybody, it was all you coming and hugging him. He's like, what? Okay, yeah, thanks. But he didn't understand what he had accomplished. And he had that medal. And he was the start. He came back, and we used that medal. It was like an elixir. Look what we did. And we showed videos, and we talked about running, and the psychology of running dominated our school. And before I knew it, 2, 3, 5 kids were running marathons. It was getting so great, we decided, let's expand it. Let's have half marathons come in. And then the girls started to think, you know what, I can put away those feelings of not looking as beautiful as I need to, or I could be sweaty and I could still be proud. And we started to sell that idea and that commitment. And I was on every single run with these kids. I've never missed a run, not once, because in their lives, they've had too many people that have, because of the tragedies of their lives, have not been able to support them the way they need. So once we got Mauricio, things started to change. And it blossomed, and it blossomed, and it blossomed. And all the gains that we had, that we found in the running world, started to apply into the academic world. The risks these kids were willing to take started to just blow up. These kids, they're at-risk youth. They are the most risk-averse kids you can ever imagine. They are so nervous that somebody's going to judge them. The veneer that they have is like a suit of armor. They're so nervous that they're not going to make it. And our entire job was to break that down. That edifice was going to be replaced by an idea that we're going to stand up tall and we are going to make something of this. And how are we going to do it? We're going to work. We're not going to feel sorry for ourselves. We're not going to talk about where we came from. We're going to talk about where we're going. And we're going to do it, and we're going to do it with pride. And there's the results. We've created the largest cohort of high school marathon runners in the world. That requires everything we talked about: dedication, commitment, and perseverance. Look at all those families. And that's everything to me. That's the families that weren't there at the start. For the first 10 years, I finished every marathon. There was one person that was there at every finish line: my dad. My dad took photos of all these kids, and he celebrated with them and hugged them. And we're from Saskatchewan. We're not too good at the hugging, but we're trying, and we're doing all that, and we're getting her going. And it's a magical moment, but I was so pissed off. Where were these families? Where were the people to celebrate with these kids? Well, that changed. Look at that. Look at Emily Lloyd. She came as a broken girl to our school. Beautiful kid, but so much sadness and so much dysfunction in her life. And she came to Streetfront with a hope. She said, I want to run a marathon. And this is I saw her PE records. I'm telling you, no PE teacher was thinking she was going to have that. But she came with the vision because her friends had come to the school, and I thought, well, okay, why not? You're no different than the rest of them. Let's give it a shot. And she worked, and she worked, and she dropped, and she rose, and she cried. And again, the psychology and the brutality of long-distance running it's a challenging thing. But she did it. Look at the picture of her and her mom. And if you look at the smiles on Krista, on Connor, on Justice, on Valen, on George, on Ibn, and that's just an average day. Let's go run. And that's what I get. I'm a lucky, lucky man. My name's Trevor Stokes. I teach at the Streetfront Alternative Program.